Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Dunn, and I am so thrilled to have you guys back here again today. If you are new to this channel, I basically talk about all kinds of stuff, and a lot of times I get that information, basically all the time, I get that information from my guides that I call the Team of Light. So today I wanted to dive in and talk a little bit about sacred geometry. So if that's something that is already interesting to you, or if it has been coming up and you're seeing these patterns and this is piquing your curiosity, please like and subscribe below. All right, let's dive on in. So I'd like to start off by saying that I am no expert in sacred geometry. I am not a mathematician, and although I love physics, I am very limited on the knowledge even there. So the information I'm giving you guys today is 100% from my Team of Light and just channeled information. And I'd really love to see your guys' input or how it impacts you or what you think and feel. So I was doing a meditation and I was asking my guides, I always ask, how can I serve? What information do you have for me that will either help me along my healing journey, or anyone that watches my videos? Are there little seeds I can plant or things I can say that will help them along their awakening process or healing or things like that? So it was interesting because, and I have some notes here, that's why I keep looking down, but I felt this huge group where my Team of Light is, and my Team of Light is several guides, a lot of angels. I love working with angels, but a lot of guides that are specifically tethered to me, and then I will have other guides that kind of come in for specific time periods to help me understand or coach me or to develop another skill or something like that. So all of them were there, but the other really neat thing is there was other light body beings that I had worked with before. And now this is before I even would say that term, like that I was working with light body beings. I don't even think I consciously really recognized that I was when I was. Anyway, they had all these light body beings around, and they were saying that, this is like when you are awakened and when you are not just tipping your toe, like poking your toe in that sea of infinite possibilities, but you're embracing them. You can not only work with your guides and angels, but there is an infinite amount of light body beings that are these beautiful, powerful, energetic beings that are willing and ready to jump in and help you. And look at all of the ones you've already had interactions with and how much of an impact that they have had, during sessions and healing and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. Like I just never had that perspective before. And so I was like, wow, there was like thousands of, people or, light body beings, past loved ones. I was like, wow, really, really taken aback. I almost got a little emotional because I was like, wow, this is incredible to really have an opportunity to see how many people you have impacted. And so that was incredible just to begin with my meditation. So I'm going to read you kind of some of the things that they were saying. They said that we are all with you. And this is a message for me, but it's really a message for all of us. But they said, we are all with you now and always. And there is even more light body beings to come. When you are here and connected, when I'm channeling and connected, you can connect with any one of us or all of us, the energy of all of them at the same time. That's really powerful too. And then they handed me something, which is why I wanted to do this video. They handed me, and I'm gonna use my fingers here. They handed me a square. How do you make a square with your fingers? Oh boy, this just got real awkward. Okay, a square, a box. There we go. Look at that. Okay, shapes 101, make a box. Okay, so they handed me a box. They handed me then a triangle, and then they handed me a circle. And I'm holding them in my hands, like they handed them to me, like they were objects, right? And they were kind of glowy, and I'm holding them and I'm like, okay, what is the significance of these shapes? Because to me, they're just shapes, right? I'm like, and so they went on to explain them. And they said, these shapes hold all truth, past, present, and future, individual reality, the collective's reality, and the universal reality. And basically the feeling I got was this rush or overwhelming feeling that they were giving me something that appeared to me, my perspective was that it was just shapes and simple, but it was so big and so huge, I couldn't even fathom really what they had given. And that's kind of how I felt at the time. And they said, you will see these symbols, the square, the triangle, and circle, in everything, because they are everything. They are you, and they are all of us. They are the universe expressing itself in tiny versions we call self. That was really interesting too. And basically the way I interpreted that was, it was kind of like, these are little shapes, but they are a part of everything, and they make up everything. You're a part of everything. So it is kind of like the universe expressing itself through these shapes, just like how the universe expresses itself through you. They went on to say, these symbols hold absolutely no power unless you understand its meaning and significance. So like all things, some things are nothing at all, and some things are absolutely everything. And so it was kind of funny. It made me laugh a little bit because I was like, what are these shapes? Like I'm like, okay, I figured this out in kindergarten. Like, what are these shapes? And so it just cracked me up because they really called me on it for just a second. They were like, if you don't understand them, they mean nothing but shapes. But they mean nothing at all, really, but they are literally everything. And so I was like, okay, I see what you did there. That was totally me 5 seconds ago before I realized what the heck these were, right? And they don't normally hand me objects and shapes. So I already knew out the gate that this was going to be very vital information. Okay. I'm sorry. We gift this to you now as you have done your work and asked the right question. So of course I was like, well, what did I ask? What was the right question? What did I say? What did I ask? And they said, how can I serve? And I say that every morning, every day. I constantly ask, how can I serve, right? And they said, to serve others is to serve self. As you are a part of everything, that is because you are source, and source is everything. So therefore, you not only are serving others, but you serve self. Do you see? And they ask this question multiple times. They keep asking, do you see? Do you see why now we handed you these shapes? Do you see why they are so powerful? Now, they went on to say that our individual experiences are tied to each other, the collective and the universe. Yet, our own personal perception is often me, myself, or I. Only when we can go beyond self is when you love all unconditionally, and only then can you understand the truth in these symbols. Oh man, I swear, it's incredible when they give you one sentence and then you're like, it has so much power and meaning behind it, right? Ugh. All right, so then they described basically that this was a download of information that was so much that I will only be able to digest a little bit of it now, and that they will revisit it again. So that's important, I think. And they said this, I think, was one of the most important things. They said this, all these shapes and what they're giving me right now, this is literally the key to everything, especially expression of consciousness. We honor all that is you because it is all of us. We are all one, small fragments intertwined together. And this is where they said, you may share this information, but few will understand. These symbols, so they went on to explain the symbols farther. They said, these symbols are expansion and implosion, consciousness and unconsciousness, love and hate, good and evil, unconditional and conditional, growth and suffering, balance and imbalance, color and emptiness, life and death, beginnings and ends, days and nights, female and male, earth and sky, water and fire, metal and wood, moist or dry, hot or cold, high or low, left and right, peace and chaos. It is literally everything. All of those things just listed, all of those things are an infinite eternal, cohesive balance. So again, they've brought this up and talked this out before about the polarities of things, the left, the right, the male, the female, right? And they're talking about how you have to understand both of those to understand them as a whole, and they only function as left and right, just like our brain, right? We have a left side and a right side, but it does us no good if our brain can't communicate between both sides. So that, our brain is in the middle, right? So we want to move our right hand or our left hand or our right leg or our left foot. And if we can't get those messages to be centered and balanced in the middle, we will not take a step. We'll take one step forward and the other foot won't respond and we'll fall, right? So in a sense, it's only when they're working together as this system and in unity do they actually function well. And so this is something that they've talked about before, but never in this format with the shapes and everything. So they go on to explain them and they say it is not one or the other, the left or right. So it's not one or the other. It just simply is. It is not polarity yet neutrality. It is oneness and unity. All three, the left, the right, and the center. Only here can you find truth. This is why these symbols are absolutely everything. And to someone else who may not be able to yet comprehend, these symbols mean absolutely nothing. And that in itself is the point, because both are absolutely beautiful. Do you see? So I thought that was so incredibly powerful, because they're basically saying it's okay. And that's why I started this video. It's okay if you're like, what is she talking about? This is like totally bizarre. She's talking about weird shapes. I'm out. It's okay. It is 100% okay. If you are like, oh my gosh, I've had interactions or experiences with sacred geometry and all these shapes are starting to come up like patterns, and you are totally jiving and picking up what I'm putting down right now, then you're just at a different level of understanding and consciousness, right? So I thought that was really powerful. So they did explain the shapes individually. So let me go back into my notes here and explain a little bit further. So they explained the box, okay? They explained the box as having 4 walls. The number 4 was significant in that context, but set that aside for just now. So that might be for my math people. So they said this is a box. These are the 4 walls. This is your perception of reality, right? They said this is basically control, right? So when you come into human form, or when you are chose to come here, right, you have to have your slate wiped all clean. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to have a real human experience, right? So in that human experience, you have limitations, you have boundaries, you have these things that help to control you or your environment, right? And then we do these things like, you grow up, you go to school, you get a job, you start a family, these really basic, planned out in the box type things, right? And some of this is programming, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But basically what they were talking about is the box is basically your perception of your reality, okay? And then when they handed me the triangle, they explained that it represents 3 sides. So put that number aside. They said each have 3 balancing sides. The physical, like the body, the mind, and the soul. The past, the present, and the future. But they called it, instead of past, present, and future, they said there, as in back there, here, as in right here, and then. So they said there, here, and then was their version of past, present, and future. But they're more correct in their actual verbiage, because past, present, and future is a linear timeline point of view, which is very human, which is incorrect. And we know because of physics and different things that there is no such thing as time. So it actually does make more sense to say there, here, and then, because you could be over there in the past, present, or future. Do you see what I mean? Or I could be right here tomorrow in the same seat doing another video in the future. Or in the past, I've been in this seat before. Do you see what I mean? Because there's no such thing as time, so you got to catch on to that. I thought that was a really cool thing. And they said this is all about having equal sides, the 3 equal sides. And then the circle. So they put the little circle in my hand, right? And they said that this is a representation of all creation, constant movement and shift and change. Because here there is no corner. There is no time and space, right? It is unique. And they said this is where truth lies because it is an infinite, shifting, moving, changing, energetic reality, right? So that was really important. So they kind of laid them on each other. And it's funny because I kind of recognize the symbol a little bit. And I'm like, I think I know where I've seen that before. And so later after this meditation, I hopped online and Googled some of these things because, again, I'm not some specialist in geometry of any kind, even sacred geometry. And but I did find that the root chakra symbol with the geometrical shapes was extremely close to what I was looking at, holding my hands out as they put these shapes in my hands. But the difference I saw here was when they stacked them on each other, the square, the triangle, and the circle, they each all kind of touched edges and corners and things like that, and I could see them each. So it wasn't like pieces of paper. I could see each one of them still looking at them, right, as a whole. And then they said, like, when the last thing that they said was, do you see? They put 3 little dots on in the very center. And they told me that those 3 dots mean therefore, and so it is, or possibly because, just because, you know. And so anyway, I hopped online and I was like, okay, I need to understand more about these shapes. And so I couldn't find anything where they were all together like that, except for maybe the chakras in the way that I was looking at them. And then I stumbled on the sacred geometry and I was like, mind blown, because every single one of these shapes, the circle, the square, and the triangle, is all you need to make every single geometric shape there freaking is. And we talk about the tree of life and what else? There's the tree of life, there's the flower of life, there is the I can't remember. There's a couple of them, right? I can't think of them off the top of my head, but they're all very, very similar in how they have little patterns and shapes that represent some of this information. And then I realized they handed me the key to everything. And they said, you will see these shapes again and again and again and again, because they are in everything. And we know that a lot of times we've heard people say that math is kind of like a language within itself, yet it doesn't necessarily have to be spoken. It's a different type of language. All right, so I said to put the numbers aside, and I almost forgot to touch on those again. So the number 4 and times the number 3 is the number 12. I thought it was very, very interesting that the 4 and the 3 come together as 12. Now, if we look at a number 1 is this like, like leadership role, the like go-getter, the almost like very assertive, right? And number 2 is kind of like a little bit more of like a coming together, a bringing about, a little bit more of a inclusion and working together. And so having 1 and 2, 12 together is really fascinating too, because it's kind of like the yin, the yang, the left and the right, and they're very opposite of each other, but they're coming together, right? And so I was like, holy crap. I wonder if this is some like legit geometrical, mathematical, sacred language, and I just don't know how to speak it. On top of that, we know that we're talking physics, anatomical shapes. I mean, I'm sure we could probably find these shapes in everything. Think of an egg or a womb or a sperm. They're all round. There's so many things that we could break down and look at these shapes as literally being the cornerstones of creation and life itself, which I thought was just mind-blowing and fascinating. And again, this is kind of one of those things where like I am not sacred geometry, special, that's not my specialty. And math and not so much math, but physics is fascinating to me. But again, I've never even taken a class. So to me, I could definitely tell that this was like serious, heavy information that was maybe a little bit over my head. I'm really looking forward to getting more information from my guides as I develop more. So you guys may have had this similar experience. You guys may have had experiences way beyond this, and you may not have a clue what I'm talking about. But the beauty is that we are all kind of in this awakening process together. So I thought I just wanted to share it with you guys because I thought it was so fascinating. All right, so I thought that was a really interesting, unique meditation. I'd really like to see or hear what you guys get out of that. Any other little tidbits of information? I really just Googled Google images of these shapes and stuff like that, and I clicked on like some things, but I didn't really dive deep because I really prefer to get most of my information from my guides and not listen to someone else's interpretation before they give me more information. Do you know what I mean? I like to verify or confirm by hopping online, but not usually the other way around. So like when I get the information that I want, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm good. Like I recognized it in chakras, it's sacred geometry. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna sit. It validated it for me, and I'll sit and get more information. So who knows, there may be another video diving a little bit deeper into this topic. I just thought it was really fascinating. So for those of you that do love physics and numbers and sacred geometry, maybe you guys can throw some information down there for other people too that like really are interested in this. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are all doing lovely and well. I absolutely love your support. Again, if you liked this video, like and subscribe, and always love and light, my friends.